In today's episode,
I remember hearing you talk about like going viral in air quotes is kind of like, first of all, it's not a great strategy, right? But secondly, I love the nuance that you brought to that. And you talked about the difference between a paid for product and a free product, and maybe a freemium product in between. So could you just share your thoughts on that? I haven't heard anyone talk about it.
And we were, in early years, we were as guilty as that thinking as anyone. And in fact, you know, it was funny. There was early on where it was like 3 ways we were going to grow. And we had like this 3-pronged strategy. Strategy number 1 was we were going to grow virally. And so Tom, I had a product, was like, I'm going to make it work. And then the second strategy was we were going to do business development. We were going to partner with like CBS and ESPN, and we were going to do a revenue share with them. And then the third way, which isn't really a strategy, was our CMO, my wife, was like, just give me like 30,000 or 40,000 and I'll go and create an ad campaign and we'll advertise. And I remember we were thinking, what do you think this is? Like, you know, the 60s? Like, this is like a bar of soap. This is a technology product. And she was like, look, advertise, it might work, right? Like,
what was her background, by the way? How did
she had a marketing background, but she didn't have like a really consumer marketing background. She'd worked in consultancy. But this was pretty new to her as well. But she had a hunch that, you know, if you want people to find out about your product, maybe we market it.
You have to go where they hang out.
And we also became real students of marketing and advertising. And I'd consider myself a real student of advertising. And it's actually a topic that I love and really could talk at length about it. But so the success of those strategies, so the first one, viral, like complete failure. Like we had a K factor of like, a K factor is a metric of how many users you bring in that invited, how many users do they bring in? And so really great social products at the K will be over 1, means it's growing virally, and best ones are like growing a K factor of like 2 or 3. K factor at FanDuel early on, I think it was like 0.1.
Oh, wow.
So for every 10 users would bring in 1 user.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of work and trying to like get people to refer a friend. What we've discovered in retrospect is that paid products don't grow virally. They just don't. And the reason is, and also paid products in a vertical. So fantasy sports is a vertical. Facebook is a horizontal. In that, by horizontal, I mean everyone I know might want to be on Facebook. Or in 2009, they wanted to be on Facebook. Maybe not today. But, you know, it's horizontal. My granny, my niece, you know, they're all on this one product. Fantasy sports, well, my guy friends who are into sports might be on it. That's vertical. And what does the difference means? Well, it means that instead of me knowing 100 people or 150 people who want to be on this product, I know maybe like 10, right? So that's a problem. The next problem then is, okay, of those 10, how many are going to pay for it? And so maybe of those 10, maybe only like 1, and even 1 who might, but even then, is he really willing to pay for it now? And so paid products in verticals don't grow virally. We didn't understand that. We kind of learned that the hard way. So that was a bust. And then the second strategy was, let's do business development. Business development in startups, the whole like, you give us traffic and we'll give you revenue as a startup to a big company is probably one of the most disastrous user acquisition strategies I think any startup has ever tried. Almost never works. The big company generally doesn't want to do the deal. And even if they do, they're not as good at selling your product as you are. And so if I kind of went back, I would probably, you know, that would be one of the things that I'd be like, don't do that.
Yeah. And just to clarify, because business development is one of those terms that gets used for so many things. So
yeah, like if you're selling,
like
great.
Strategic,
but it's strategic. Or? Oh yeah, if it's got strategic on it, just shoot it, right? Like you will save yourself time and energy because you're saying strategic because it doesn't make any sense otherwise, right? Because if it's a customer, it's a customer, right? You say strategic because it's a big customer, but if it's a strategic partnership, it really means that it doesn't really make any sense, right? Like
I would say, where I've seen it, where it has worked, and the only reason I say this is because I've worked in both sales and the equivalent of what we called, let's say, charity water brand partnerships, right? Someone might have tried to say strategic once upon a time, but essentially, and the difference was sales was like, I'm selling to a customer, I'm selling, but like it wasn't normal sales, it's like consultative sales. So you're kind of helping them grow and then they spend more money, right? That's how it works. On the partnership side, where I've seen it work is like there's, and I hate to use this term, but like there's there's an incentive for them, right? So like, especially with a charity, and we were kind of when charitable still is a cool charity that's quite rare and it stands out. So the partnerships we had done, we had over 100 brand partners, and they were partnerships where sometimes they wouldn't even shout about it, and so there was still a benefit for them. But a lot of the time it was like, I'm trying to think of like Humble Bundle. Have you? Because you're in that. So most people listeners don't know what Humble Bundle is, but they're several. I forgot the numbers, but they've raised like several $100 million for charity by this point. But they've added a layer of cause and charity within their whole platform. And for us as a partner of theirs, they were going to gain from the fact that we are going to give them great marketing assets, and that sort of stuff. It makes their customer base, it makes them stand out, and for us, then we get money as a charity. So I don't know if that's different.
I would say there are scenarios where I've seen it work, but if you haven't figured out how to sell your product, no one else is going to figure it out for you. And that's kind of like this. It's this. It's a startup delusion, which is, well, they have traffic. And if they just give me some of their traffic, then this will work. And that's I've worked with so many startups who are in that delusion. They're like, if they just give me this traffic, it won't cost them that much, and we can make this work. And the honest truth is, if you don't know how to sell it, they won't. And so that failed. So now we're like 0 for 2. And so the third
viral
strategic partnerships, not just partnerships, strategic partnerships. And the third one was more advertising. And so actually one of the first channels we really pushed on was radio.
And so this is
2011. Okay. So and our first marketing budget was $30,000.
And it was a radio ad.
Why
radio?
Radio is really interesting, particularly in the US. You can do endorsed ads, so you can have the presenter actually endorse the product.
Sounds familiar.
And you know this one. And so it was kind of, podcasts were there, but they were still very small at the time. And so it was really more sort of talk radio. So the great thing about us, we were a sports product, and people didn't understand it. And so radio is great because people actually can hear it. The presenter can explain it. Whereas if you have a display ad, people are like, I don't know what this is. Whereas a radio ad, it's like, hey, I'm playing in this fantasy sports league. Love you to come and join, right? Like, and what is it? And explain. I can pick a team. I can win enter fee, win a prize. And so radio is just such a great way of explaining a new product.
And it's attention.
Yeah, and attention. People are listening.
People, especially,
you can't fast forward. Your grip, and you also trust the host. All right, there's this kind of like personal engagement between the host and the audience, and so it is probably it's an advertising format that I love. I've always loved radio.